Okay, here we go. So first drive on offense. I think I got a new play. So we got Josh Jacobs in the backfield. Excited about it. Sean Ryan is playing right guard. Jordan Morgan's out with a shoulder injury. Depending on who you talk to, Jordan Morgan's got the inside track for that right guard starting position. I personally, that's great. I think if it's even, you're gonna give it to the first round draft pick, no question about it. I have been told different things about how different players interact with coaches and etc. around the team. I have no idea what's true or what's not true. I'm just going to take it just completely based on tape and not on anything, practice habits, etc. I'll say this: Sean Ryan played right guard for 3 snaps. Did everything he needed to do in 3 snaps. I'll show one of the highlights right here. Did some stuff at the center position. I think it's fair to say that the thought it crossed my mind that he's maybe a center that can fight to replace or push Josh Myers. That might be true, but I think from a footwork standpoint, I think at this point Josh is probably a little bit better. But here we go across the board. Josh Jacobs in his, this is what you're going to see a lot from Josh Jacobs. A lot of downhill stuff, power running, trying to wear you down. He is he's got all the tools. You're going to see we're going to build this out obviously as the preseason goes. You're going to see a lot more kind of A gap, B gap, tighter stuff. I think, especially initially, what I'm hoping is that you don't bring in Marshawn Lloyd and all of a sudden, I know he got hurt, but you don't bring in Marshawn Lloyd and start. That's when you toss the ball and you become a little bit like you can read. One thing that I always liked about our teams is Amon, Tony, and Najee could all run the same plays. Now, Najee and Amon were probably more alike to one another than Tony was from the other two. And Tony was a really good kind of screen guy. So like some guys can have their thing, but what you want to be able to have is 2 or 3 guys that can excel in each part of the game. I think that's what you were missing a little bit from Aaron and AJ. When you bring in AJ can run all of Aaron's stuff. Let me reverse that. Aaron could run all of the AJ stuff, but AJ couldn't run all of Aaron's stuff. So hopefully we're a little bit closer with Marshawn Lloyd and Josh Jacobs. And of course, Emmanuel Wilson, who had a good game in this game, 2 of that. Listen, Myles Garrett's not out here. So, I always take all this stuff with an expectation of, like, if you have your starters out and Myles Garrett's not on the field, well, you should win a lot of football games. Okay, so is Watson the new Lazard? We talked about that last week. Lazard's not been here now for 2 seasons, but that insert that really we're going to see a lot of this. Listen, we're going to see more motion, more tight end action. We're going to more because this offense is like what happens when offenses are good, like all the Shanahan stuff. Well, then they just keep taking the quarterback coach, the coordinator, the wide receiver, and they become coordinators at other places. They install the same offense, bingo, bango. Everybody's got their own wrinkles, but this stuff looks very familiar. And teams really haven't figured out how to defend all the wrinkles. So Watson's going to insert here. And we just have a very basic zone to the left, but they're going to want to bend this back into the backside A or B gap. Really like to see the physicality here by Watson trying to dig somebody out. Listen, if you can't do this in modern NFL, I just don't know how fast you have to be able to run in order to play. I think he's a big fella. He's got the ability to put on a little more size. You got good leverage in there. You just always want to make sure you're moving your feet and doing kind of all the right things to try to minimize injury. So I show Watson here, but really I want to show Sean Ryan as well. So what I think Sean Ryan does well here is you have to shut the door with that second step. So you take that first leverage step with your left foot. Second step, let's bang back and really go same foot, same shoulder with that right shoulder. Try to keep this left arm open, place that shoulder free so that you can cover this guy up and not have him either A, run through the hole, or B, if you have to have what we call a car crash, you just have to take him horizontal towards the left sideline here, that's okay. But of course, the running back, unless you can remove him, that hole is gone for the running back. He's going to see that white flash in front of his face. He's going to take this backside. Good job there. Great hole. Great way to start the season. A nice little 6-7 yard game. Fantastic. All right, so now we're going to look at the sideline copy. I love this. They go motion. They've got 12 personnel in the game. Cleveland Browns match. And this is where I think you can see the evolution of the preseason, if nothing else. Now, I'm sure this is just a question I have. So this is really a two-man route. They're going to mass protect under center play action pass. You see the routes there. We're going to cross the safety's face in the inside slot, and then we're going to work like the basic or the dig route on the outside. And they're really just trying to see what's going to happen to that slot defender. Because of the play action pass, you know that these linebackers are going to suck in, and you're going to have it between that, the 42 and the 48-yard line. You should have a lot of space for that guy to move. Now, this is what I always see. You cross the face here, okay, of the safety, and you see that defensive back turning his hips the wrong direction. I mean, this should be a touchdown. And the question I have here is, as we move forward, can you convert this to a skinny post? If you convert this to a skinny post, you have a touchdown on the second play, not the third. Okay, because you see where that safety's over. There is absolutely all the space in the world. Inside slot receiver does a great job of crossing this. They're trying to cross that safety's face to make him drive on that route. And now we're one-on-one with literally 3/4 of the field behind him. But he ends up running. Basically, the inside slot defender comes and takes away the deep cross. So he's got to throw the check down to the back. Okay, good job. No problem, but potential touchdown. Now, third play, last play we'll probably watch on offense. So we go trips. We go trips empty. They go man-to-man, man. When it's man-to-man, like I just wrote, the buffet is open, guys. The buffet is open because when you go man-to-man here, that safety, where are you usually throwing this ball in trips in a situation like that when you've got a speedster out on to your left and it's 1v1? You're going to take a quick look, and if that's open, they're going to throw the fade. So every defense on the planet knows that. They're susceptible to that. This is a situation where everyone's running vanilla stuff, so you're just kind of playing basic vanilla rules. But this safety's got to look to the three receiver side and still be cognizant of the fact that there's a guy over on his right that might be a real problem if he gets off the line of scrimmage. So we see this. He checks the three receiver side, drives on the inside cross, right? Because that inside cross does a good job of getting behind those linebackers, forces the drive from the safety. And now, because they got jammed up here, they're just probably running a 5-yard in. You've got one-on-one on the slot, and if he wins, it's 9-9's time. These plays are so – you don't see a lot of guys running like true cover one man because guys don't have 4 dudes that can cover the entire field, And really, when you talk about the accuracy of these quarterbacks, we have some good quarterbacks in this league. Jordan Love's certainly one of them that has the arm strength. Dantani Wicks is, if you leave him one-on-one in the slot where he can literally go anywhere on the field, that's the difference between playing outside of the sidelines and playing in the middle of the field, playing in the slot. You can go anywhere you want, right? Like the route tree is wide open. And so if you're going to give him one-on-one in these situations with his athleticism, you're going to see a lot of this. And for that reason, quite frankly, you're just not going to see a ton of cover one on third down and respectable. Let's just check out the one pass pro we have the opportunity to look at. We got Rasheed Walker over here on the left side. I love the way his set is continuing to evolve. Like, I'm not a huge fan of how he sets, but I'll say this: play speed's great, get off's great. He's presenting a pretty decent body position here. We got Josh. Excuse me. Let me back up. I got a little ahead of myself. Let's just look at Jordan Love first, okay? So Jordan Love immediately head goes to the left. Why? Well, he's not. Look where he's looking. He's probably looking at the popcorn guy in the second row, right? But that head to your left makes that free safety at least acknowledge that there's a chance they're throwing the quick fade. Okay? You see that safety goes over, and he's immediately gone. Knows where the touchdown is. Now, here's the big deal for me. We've got Rasheed Walker. Does a good job. I don't like the body angle. You want to be able to lock this guy out. But coaches coach differently. Andre Dillard's out here trying to keep this space so he can step up. And then Sean Ryan, those three guys are the guys that have one-on-ones. Josh and Jenkins have a pretty easy play here. Sean Ryan's really got the tough job here, in my opinion, as far as one-on-one with the wide three technique. He's probably going to take one right in the face and get a bull rush. That's exactly what you want, but you got to get your hands inside. He's a big body. He can hold up pretty well. Does a good job of trying to reset and kind of losing slow, which is what we want. So clean pocket, rips it. You see what happens when guys like Jordan Love can step into that play, by the way. It's just fantastic. All right, let's go to the defense. So kind of first time we're seeing this unless you've been standing at practice. But look, you got 4 down linemen. And the big thing for me, we talked about this before, with Rashawn Gary and Preston Smith, their hand are in the ground. I've been saying this for 2 years, I think, at least. If Rashawn Gary's only I'm not thrilled with the way he pass rushes I'm thrilled from a guy who coaches tackles. I'm thrilled because he is leaving some meat on the bone. But I know he works his backside off, his ass off to do it. And what he's trying to do, he does it extremely well. The only thing that I've always thought, and I've said it on this show and other shows, if you put his hand in the ground, his get off and initial leverage is going to be so much better. So I'm just, this alone, I'm thinking about big things for him. So you got your 4 down. We got 21 personnel, so we got 2 running backs and a tight end in the game for the Cleveland Browns. So we match in this 4-3 that we've been talking about, and then you've got your 4 DBs here. So this is a look, quite frankly, that you just didn't feature a lot last year, where I'm hoping, with the way the NFL's going, a lot of guys are running 12 and 21 personnel, 13 personnel, 22 personnel. I'm hoping that we see a lot more of this, and we have a commitment to stop the run. And then we've got those guys in the back. And listen, see, Bullard played a lot. We've got some dudes, I think, that just got drafted to this team that are going to play a lot at the safety position, maybe the nickel slot. I don't know if Nixon's going to be the guy. Or we're going to take what? Who is going to put Javon Bullard, Evan Williams? Who's going to play in that position? I know Nixon had it right now, but you can see on this tape maybe some things that he needs to iron out if he wants to stay in a competitive race. Okay, so they run the toss crack. And I'm just going to highlight my guy, Isaiah McDuffie, and something that he can improve on. I saw this twice on the tape. So we see McDuffie. We got Quay, and I think Wilson's over here at 45 now. The rookie's not playing this group today. I believe he might be injured. But we see the toss crack, and you see the good identification. He takes a good angle. Now, right here, okay, you got to get that outside hand free. And what do I mean by that? You stab and slingshot that inside hand, but you don't want to turn your shoulders, because the running back is never going to turn his shoulders, so he's going to stay on lane. Right? So as soon as you see that running back's going to have leverage on you, you just keep your shoulders pointed on the same track. You go same foot, same shoulder, step, put his hand in his chest, you can rip right through. And you probably end up making this tackle instead of just barely missing it. But a great job, great pursuit by everybody. You see, if I go back, these are the little things you want to look for. This is Rashawn Gary. Okay, he's on the backside, chasing this play down. Fantastic. It's exactly what you want from your football team. You go motion in, get 21 personnel, commitment to the run, 8 in the box against just what used to be our base formation on offense, right? 21 personnel, you just gotta, this is like near right Z motion across the ball. And what we talked about with the half of the defense, what's interesting about it potentially for us? Well, right now, there is no reading, 2 gapping, trying to make a guy miss the line of scrimmage. At that 3 technique position in particular, we are attacking the gap. We are actively attacking the gap. I think this is Devontae Wyatt here. We're actively attacking that B gap, trying to penetrate. How fast can we get off? Can we get upfield and then we retrace? Now this is another McDuffie play. And I want to show you, when we talk about how can we improve the football team over the course of the season, how the course of the preseason. There's one thing, this guy's an absolute unit, man. This is a really good play by McDuffie. You just see how he takes on the center here and just stonewalls him. And here, reads it, pop. Okay. this is what we have to improve. And this is not just Quay, but you see, I'll go back to kind of highlight what the issue is. We have under center. And like we've always talked about, like, how can Quay improve? Man, you got to play towards the line of scrimmage. You don't want to catch guys at that, 8 yards deep and say you have a ton of tackles. You see Wilson steps up. You see Quay steps up. Excuse me. You see, of course, McDuffie steps up. Quarterback showing the ball. Quay's first step is to go backwards and away, right? You got to have a run-first mentality. Somebody who does this extremely well is like Fred Warner for the San Francisco 49ers. Play flat-footed. We talk about this a lot of times in the secondary with a flat foot read. Play flat-footed and make your read and then go like hell, okay? You don't need to waste all this motion because now look at the yardage. You've given up 2 to 3 yards just because you don't have a run-first mentality. So McDuffie steps up, same foot, same shoulders this guy. White gets on the action. But really just a fantastic play by Isaiah McDuffie. Hopefully he's gets a legitimate chance to play and feature because he just brings something to this team. We've talked about it before from a toughness standpoint that you can't put a price on. Okay. Again, kind of same thing we did. We're trying to cross face to the safety here in the slot, and then we're just going to give the outside receiver, and you can see that we've got outside leverage on both these guys trying to drive into that deep third safety. We're going to give that outside receiver as much chance as much space as he needs to operate so he can run some kind of in route here. So he stems to the top of the numbers and then bangs in. I think good throw and catch, quite frankly. Safety's in an odd position there. You see, and you go back to the inside slot receiver. He's playing outside leverage, so he knows if that guy crosses face, it's got to go past, hopefully, the linebacker who's dropping, but also that safety's going to end up driving. And you put the onus, I think that's on Alexander outside, to make that play. And these kind of plays are going to happen. You're going to see them a lot, at least the opportunity for them to happen when you're playing a single high safety. But quite frankly, this is what you signed up for. And we're only going to get better understanding where the weak points are in the defense, really coaching it up, watching tape on plays like this and understanding, hey, if this guy inside stems to the top of the numbers, like, what is he doing, right? What is he doing? Let's watch the pass rush. Now, this is, I think a lot of people, from a stat standpoint, a lot of guys are talking about Lucas Van Ness, and I think it's great. Listen, what he brings is a ton of energy. That's a tight end, okay? And tight end's got inside hands right now. Tight end one with inside hands off the snap. That's not okay. That's something he's got to, you can't just turn and give chest. If you give chest, put your hands outside, you're not going to have the effectiveness you want. So I love that he's down in a three-point stance. Again, we talked about it even when he was at Iowa, how much better he would be when he was in a three-point at Iowa. So I think this is really helpful for him as well. He has a motor, and you can see the athleticism. He's even going to, try to pull a pass rush move here once or twice. You have to, especially if you're going to play this kind of speed to power, high intensity game, you have to win with your hands, or you have to give angles that are inconvenient for the blocker. He ends up kind of ripping through this guy late, but it's at that point, if you've been pushed 7 yards upfield, straight upfield, and you're trying to come back in, yes, you can always win late on a tight end. We just want to do a little bit better job. So we got trips left. I just love this mindset. And listen, guys, I try to write things in these boxes, and it's been a while. I kind of forget how this goes. I'm not going to put them in the bottom left anymore because that was stupid, and I'll learn from my mistakes. But they're going to go man on man here, single safety high, and they're going to bring Quay, okay? Which is, as I've talked about, love when Quay Walker is being told to go to a gap and then using instincts. I think that's the best version of Quay. Wyatt just makes a fantastic play here, and I think Van Ness and maybe some other guys kind of falling on the sack. But watch the 3 technique. So we've got center sliding to our right, his left, and you got to find the fish. The fish is usually the center, okay? And some teams it's not, and our team it certainly wasn't. But you usually the center as far as if I want to get a guy one-on-one on that line, who do I want it to be? It's probably him, especially if you're trying to get him kicking out to like a 3 technique. Okay, so they're going to slide to their left, our right. You're going to single up Carl Brooks. You're going to single up. And if anybody can tell me, because I can't understand for the life of me why we're doing this, but if anybody can tell me why Kingsley is still standing up, love to hear it. I'll go back, show that one more time. There we go. Here we go. Let's do it again. No, come on, Mike. Yeah. So you see, he's going to go across all the way to the backside A gap. I think this is just a matter of convenience. Swims across, and you see the center gets his hips turned here. Bad footwork by the center. So he's turned too much. It's easy to take and attack that inside his right shoulder. You attack that right shoulder across his face. Just think out of your feet. You got to open all the way up to get back. Real problem. Gets through, flushes the quarterback. Van Ness, even though he's being blocked by the left tackle, kind of falls in and gets a sack where he gets involved as well. That's what happens when one guy wins, right? Other people sometimes benefit, but pressure equals picks, right? If you got coming up the middle and they got a flush, you're going to get some sacks out of it. It's fantastic. See another move by Wyatt here. I just wanted to show this. Look on the back end. We've got too high. I think they're just playing a cover 2 look here. Watch down at the 35-yard line at the bottom of the screen. Watch that corner. This is like when we talk about cover 2 and you're like installing it in high school, it's like cover 2 corners have the flat. Well, that's not necessarily exactly how it goes. These guys want to backpedal and try to get to that zone on the sideline between the safety and the corner that usually guys are trying to attack in cover 2. So they do a good job here of dropping them deep and making that a difficult throw for the quarterback. But really, let's just talk about Devondre Wyatt, because it's like 3rd year's loading right now, guys. And I know it's early, but he looks pretty slippery here in these plays. That is a simple move executed at a high level. 1-2. Goes absolutely flat. The big thing that he does here is he moves horizontally to vertical. There's not a high angle he's trying to take. It's horizontal to vertical. Get outside of the guard's framework. Make him move his feet. He'll usually just pivot open. Ends up getting the play. Fantastic. Look around here as far as what is everybody else doing. You see 90 just goes stutter bolt. This is, you can get 5 sacks a year, right? If you get a ton of reps and you're just going to try to bull rush a left tackle like this, but it's not going to be easy. The angle straight up field is a little bit tough for me. You see, we run a little bit of TE game on the other side. We had Carl on the show. What would I tell Carl here? I think he does a good job of making that guard turn, but you also know that the center's going to be there, so they're running slides. So it's always kind of difficult. That's really why Wyatt's open there, right? Because the backside guard is one-on-one. Familiar issue to address here. Okay, what am I talking about? So they're going to run the wheel from the outside. The inside receiver, the tight end is going to cross face that linebacker and just run like a seam. And then you're going to get this shallow cross with a pick. So that inside slot on the left, yellow, is going to get like a free pick play from the Z receiver. And we see this all the time. This is one of the issues I think the Packers had last year, the last couple of years. And every team has this issue is how do you communicate and switch off? You see up top, the corner lets the switch, or starts calling switch. The linebacker, because he steps up, he gets picked. Now we're in trouble. You got this wide free open, this free player. And this is why they designed the play, because there's so many issues out there, especially when you're trying to play man. But it's always interesting to try to consider. You watch 45 here if we can just watch it. We'll threaten the leverage. We'll talk about it in a second. But watch 45. So he sees it. He just gets a little bit anxious, gets turned around, gets picked, and then it's over. Now let's go back to last year's first round draft pick, 13th pick in the draft. It was Van Ness. Now, and this is what I'm talking about, just from a pass rush plan. You see the route that he's taking. You got to threaten leverage. Like this is, for the life of me, I can't really understand. I laugh with some of the guys I work with, and I was talking to these coaches last night. It's like you're putting all your stuff on Instagram and you're showing what you're trying to accomplish. You know how easy it is for offensive linemen to figure out, what kind of technique and motion is going to win. I'm not talking specifically about Lucas here, but if the idea is to threaten this leverage and everybody's got Von Miller speed and get off, and they're all going to be able to like run around this corner and do some sort of like ghost rush. Like it's unrealistic. And just like Sean Gary we talked about last year, if you take a harder angle, either right through that hip, or if he overkicks, you press in, bull, and then get vertical. Like these are things that a guy with his skill set, his strength, his athleticism, his explosiveness off the line, but maybe lack of, like, let's say, PhD level pass rush ability. Like that's how you're going to get numbers. That's how you're going to get your hand in the quarterback's face. That's how you're going to get more pressures. I just, for the life of me, don't know what this is. And I like that he's doing a move, but like, you're 2-3 yards over the top of the quarterback. It doesn't make any sense to me. I think I got one more play that I wanted to show. This is, and we talked about it with McDuffie. This is Wilson. These are the things that you really take away from me when you're watching preseason film. These are the takeaways as a player, and hopefully the coaches are pointing things like this out, is little details of the game. So Lucas Van Ness is being told that he's going to kind of run this. We just call this like a little wolf game where the end goes in and the will fills outside. Okay. And you see Lucas does a great job. This is actually a very explosive play by him. Chop inside rip. Now, instead of taking on the guard off the line of scrimmage with two hands and turn your body, why are you not getting to your spot? If the B gap, let's say for some reason that the running back can run through Lucas Van Ness's arms, which I don't think is possible. McDuffie is going to be there, okay? But you have to get to your spot. And again, when you turn your shoulders and face like that, instead of just pressing away or ripping through and getting to your spot on the edge, now you're giving up leverage. And, you got to have safeties and corners making plays, but they're making plays for gains.